Would you be willing to bet against multi-billion-dollar companies and their top talents? Yeah, me neither. And so here are 5 reasons why you should be buying music NFTs right now. For those of you that are unfamiliar with NFTs, I would recommend this video to get started. And if you're looking for different marketplaces to explore them, I would recommend this video. The NFT industry has surpassed $41 billion USD and is showing no signs of slowing down. The writing is on the wall with this technology, and we have giant corporations like Facebook, Netflix, Atari trying to jump onto the bandwagon. We also have Coinbase, FTX, Gamestop all racing to launch their own NFT marketplaces. The latest to try and join the bandwagon is Spotify, who is now trying to hire for Web3. I fully expect this technology to disrupt revenue shares of music companies such as Spotify and Apple Music. Welcome to Not Financial Advice. I'm your host, DeFi Bay, and let's get right into it. So one of the main reasons that digital art and 10,000 PFP collections like Bored Apes have skyrocketed to massive popularity is partially because of the communities they create, which is kind of ironic considering that most art galleries don't bring together nearly the amount of people that a music show or festival do. Music inherently has a strength for creating tight-knit communities, and musicians have some of the most rabid fan bases. I mean, just look at any K-pop group or Beatles fan or Beyonce shows. So it makes sense to think that after digital art collectibles, we would have music collectibles, whether that's in just pure music format or some sort of generative audio-visual mix. Imagine being able to join a Discord group and immediately make friends with people who share the same interest in the same artists. You can make friends and belong to a community without even having to step outdoors. The community is here and they've proven themselves, so now we're waiting for the artists to come. Reason number 2 is connection. So in addition to having that belonging with a community, you now also will get access to an artist. See, in Web 2, labels and corporations were the gatekeepers to your favorite artists. They decided who to show, who to shelve, promote, etc., and they would basically orchestrate the relationship. In Web 3, however, artists can directly sell to their fans without any intermediaries, and fans can directly communicate with their artists in token-gated communities and work with, potentially become friends with, their favorite artists. Sometimes these NFTs can foster real-life relationships, as you can see with the story of Delphi and Disclosure. There's something special about owning something that you really, really love. There's a difference between watching a movie and owning a movie. I have friends who specifically buy DVDs of movies that they really love, even though they have a streaming subscription that allows them to watch it at any time. Same goes for music. I remember when I bought my first CDs and started collecting my first vinyls. It always felt like I was that much closer to the artist, even though the artist had no idea who I was or that I even supported them. Music NFTs changed that because they're a new way to have intimate connection with the song or artist, just like tapping that like and subscribe button will get you real close with the algorithm. It can essentially function as a backstage pass on the artist's terms without expiration or any corporate red tape or pressures. And sometimes they can come with additional utilities such as free concert tickets or early access to future drops, etc. And the thing is, artist popularity in Web 3 is not predetermined by their popularity in Web 2. There's been no strong correlation between the amount of Spotify fans an artist has and how well their NFTs perform. Of course, it helps to have a big fan base, but it's not a high barrier to entry. Ultimately, it comes down to how well known the artist is and how active they are in Web 3. Reason number 3 is ownership of value. See, NFTs return control back to the artists. And I quote, "Among artists, musicians arguably create the most cultural impact relative to what they capture." For example, Kanye West, whose name alone added billions in market cap for partners like The Gap and Nike. Virtually no one in the fine art world can claim that sort of influence. And yet, Spotify and Apple Music reportedly cut 75% from musicians' revenues together with the cut paid to labels. For the majority of artists, Spotify is a tool to get discovered, not paid. The top 10% of artists generate 99.4% of streams on Spotify. And to rub salt on the wound, streaming platforms are now pushing for even lower artist payouts. So now we're getting to fractions of a penny. Companies like this, they're essentially brokers between two parties, the artist and the listener. But you don't see Zillow or realtors charging 75%. In fact, this is unacceptable in any other industry, so why do we allow it in music? Historically, artists have always been taken advantage of and manipulated through terrible contracts. Do not accept the Web 2 conditioning of devaluing your favorite artist's greatest works. For many artists, this is a lifeline to not only make a living off of what they do, but also to recapture a fair portion of the value they create. Because the NFT is immutable and cemented on a blockchain, hopefully a secure one, artists will always have verifiable ownership of that contract and therefore their music. And having verifiable ownership on an immutable blockchain like Ethereum provides increased value for both the creator and the collectors. So it's a win-win. And reason number 4 is efficiency. So in the Web 2 model, it would take months and sometimes years for an artist to see the revenue in their bank accounts. And on top of that, there's usually a lot of money still left on the table because of how complicated and archaic some of these accounting systems are between each copyright entity. The accounting framework for revenue payments is so fragmented between the different types of royalties and ownerships that it's ultimately a very complex process that involves multiple entities who deal with mechanical royalties, print, performance, and sync royalties. So you can imagine how inefficient the system is at paying the creator for their work. With NFTs, you can program all of that to be done automatically. Smart contract functionality allows immediate revenue deposits as well as royalty splits without the unnecessary clog of inefficient middlemen. Value begets value, and the more that goes back to the artist, the more that they can invest back into their art and ultimately their community. There can also be a clear and programmable division of song ownership among the splits. So say I wrote a song with 2 other co-writers. I can program into the smart contract that they be paid X% of all revenues. So as soon as an NFT sells, the revenue gets divided up by the smart contract and we all get paid immediately upon sale. No more guessing or politics or corporate manipulation. It's all there on the blockchain, embedded in the smart contract. It's undeniable. This makes collaborations a lot more easy and feasible than before. And reason number 5 is the early advantage. You can bet on artists early, and for the first time, anyone could be the next Scooter Braun or Dr. Dre, finding their Justin Biebers and Eminems of the world. In the Web 2 model, the early supporters and fans of those said artists have not much to show for it. They discovered somebody who's phenomenal in their beginning stages and had no way of directly betting on the artists themselves. Between the fans that found these artists early and first, it was actually the latter Scooter Braun and Dr. Dre who benefited the most from finding their talents because they were able to directly invest in them. With NFTs, now anyone has the ability and access to bet early on an artist that they find. If you have a conviction on an artist and you think their career is going to do great, or you just simply love their music, you can buy and hold their NFTs, and as the value of the artist's work goes up, so does the NFT that you hold. And therefore fans can be rewarded for supporting their favorite artists. Right now, there are so many new platforms trying to come out and innovate and iterate on the right mechanisms to deliver music NFTs, because it's not exactly just JPEGs, and so shouldn't be painted in the same brushstroke. There are so many areas for experimentation, ranging from audio form to ownership, royalty sharing, physical digital collection integrations, and more. It's a really exciting time to be in Web3 because you're early in music NFTs and there are opportunities for everyone. If you have a good ear and taste for music curation, here's the time to shoot your shot and make something worthwhile. Find the next artist that you think are gonna have long, colorful careers. And for artists, we now have the technology and new tools to really own our careers and to continue creating what we love in a much more fair and sustainable way. And for fans, now you have direct access to create an intimate connection with your favorite artists and be rewarded for being an early supporter. Like I said in the beginning of the video, major labels and companies are waking up to this and they are adapting. So definitely don't sleep on this opportunity in a lifetime. You have a narrow window in what's probably a 5 to 10 year long race because we're still trying to get out the right infrastructure. We're still building and configuring. There are still high barriers of entry to overcome, as well as onboarding friction. But if you pay the dues and you're active and you stick with it, the rewards can be enormous. Change in the music industry is long overdue. And so now is the time to act by buying, creating, or selling music NFTs. Watch this video here to learn where some of the best platforms are to buy, sell, and create music NFTs. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.